Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I am your host, Dr. Maury Mosovitz, with my favorite, best, all-time co-host of any time, any planet, everywhere, Jen Albanese. Hello, Jen.
Hello, Maury. How are you?
Oh, doing well.
The intros get better every time. I feel
I'm
like
telling you.
we should reverse it, and I can do the same for you.
Yeah,
The
you can
best.
do it next time. Just
Doctor.
really pump up my confidence because you know I'm so confident to begin with.
Oh, no, you are. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. So what's going on? How's everything?
I don't know. Doing well.
Yeah?
Just enjoying some time and, getting off of work and getting to some podcasting today.
I know.
And
We love this. This is the fun stuff.
I know this is
the
where we
fun
kind of
stuff.
like get a break and to connect with people. It's been
I know. It's been so
fun.
much fun. So much fun. Hope everybody's enjoying all of the episodes.
Yeah, I do too. I hope that it's been something that people can take a break with. So I know we like doing it.
For sure. Hopefully they don't get too annoyed with us.
No, that's safe for my wife.
And my husband. So.
Exactly. So we were talking beforehand about horse racing, and
it's a big topic in our family. Let me tell you.
And I mean, I grew up with horse racing, but did not have as much of a passion for it as is involved with our family at this moment.
Yes, our in-laws are very, very horse racing.
Well, your husband also is pretty.
He definitely is.
He's pretty driven in. My wife could care less. My wife is one of those people they used to drag. Her story is they used to drag her to the horse races wherever they were, and she would sit there with a book and like ignore everything.
Yeah, I always see those people, and I'm like, "Why are you here?" But I guess when you think about it, if you've gotten dragged, you really don't have a choice. So
she says she's held captive. That's what my childhood was like. My parents would put me in a car and hold me captive. She got to go to the horse races at least. I would have liked that.
Do I need to ask where you went, or
my father would take us to like the post office or like a grocery store. It was not nearly as fun as like going to the track and getting like a betting sheet or something. That would be a lot better to me.
Some popcorn and peanuts and
But the fun part is that our father-in-law owns horses.
Yes, he does.
Or is a part owner in horses.
It's very cool. It is very cool to like have a stake in the game a little bit. You know what I mean? To be able to root for something. So.
And you guys like always will go and like get your picture taken if it wins.
Yeah, it was very cool. We can post it on our socials, but we there's a track close to Syracuse where we live, and one of the horses we went one time came in first, and you get to go in the winner's circle and take pictures. It was very cool. It was on the mantle. Remember that? It was on the mantle at their house for like 3 weeks.
It felt like a year to me. The reality of it is though that like ever since these horses have been like, he hasn't done it forever. Like I've known him longer than he's owned horses. And my experience is completely different than yours because every time my wife and I go to like, he'll pull it up on his iPad and we'll watch it on like a TV. We'll be ready. We're all sitting there ready to go. And like, this is the winner. This is the one. It's going to come in.
Be a big purse, going to win big money.
Your husband talks it up. Everyone's talking it up.
That's like crazy. Yeah.
And I sit there and all of a sudden we watch
and then
the horse goes and it goes.
And it breaks.
And it breaks. And it comes in dead last. Yep. Every time. Like,
what about the best one was when we were in Napa and we had to like find service. We were on vacation and we had to find service and we're all sitting there, we're like huddled around and the horse literally just came in last and we're all like, what do you say? Oh my God.
That's my memory of the entire thing is just it's never, and my wife and I are like, why we never want to watch them because like every time we are with everybody and watch the damn horse, it's always dead last. So I'm not gonna jinx it for my father-in-law or
so you can't watch it anymore. You're bad luck.
No, we're banned. My wife's thrilled because she didn't like it to begin with.
I know. She's like, any reason not to have to go.
I actually liked horse. Like I grew up in Maryland, and we'd go to like my dad
Pimlico.
would actually.
You'd go to Pimlico.
Yeah, when he's not like holding me captive, going to the grocery store, we'd go to the horse races and enjoy ourselves. So,
God, I love your dad so much.
Oh, he's one of a kind.
Oh, good times though. Gotta love it. So go horses. Yay.
Oh, yay. So we're going to, we have a cool guest today, a person that has started to come up in basketball, a young guy who is kind of making his mark, one of the youngest coaches in the NCAA as a head coach for basketball. So that'll be exciting. And we'll look forward to talking to him.
I know. I'm excited. It'll be great.
Well, that'll be up after these messages. If you're enjoying this podcast, please follow us on your favorite podcast streaming service. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting, a group focused on educating and guiding high school and college students looking towards careers in athletics. To find out more, go to our website at www.athcareer.com. That's ATHCAREER.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. And Maury, let's introduce our guest today.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Our guest today is a passionate coach with a rich and diverse background in basketball, both on and off the court. His impactful season as assistant coach at Ozarks showcased his expertise in defensive rebounds and three-point defense. Prior to that, at Cazenovia College, he played a crucial role in recruiting and game preparation, further demonstrating his versatility and dedication. With a solid foundation from Keuka College, where he excelled as a power forward and a team captain, he refined his skills as a graduate assistant at Ohio University. Our guest's journey is a testament to his passion and commitment to the sport. In 2022, he garnered attention as the youngest active head coach in NCAA, stepping into the lead role at Ozarks men's basketball. So buckle up and get ready for an inspirational conversation with Matt Bolton. Hey, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, how are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, We're very excited.
This is awesome. Youngest coach. That's so impressive.
That is very impressive.
That was something. Somebody has to have passed me by now. It's been a couple of years.
Well, definitely at the start. That's something to just get into it. So.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
So.
Jen's gonna make fun of me for buckle up. She's trying to find like a fun thing to tease me on. So
buckle up. I was like that. I mean, is that like goes with the mascot of his school? Like what?
No, I just wanted to make it exciting.
Strap in.
There you go.
There we
See,
go.
thanks, Matt.
I
There
like
you go.
it. I like it.
Well, Matt, basketball clearly a passion of yours. Something that you started off. What drew you into the world of coaching basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I had a really weird college journey, honestly. I started at Onondaga Community College
Yeah.
playing baseball, actually.
Okay.
I suffered an elbow injury. I was a pitcher, and I got hurt out of Onondaga when I was supposed to go play at Keuka.
Yeah.
Ended up going there anyway, doing nothing for a little bit, and then I guess I technically walked on to the basketball team, and I got very fortunate that a couple guys that were better than me, I think, bowed out with some injuries, and I ended up playing a role. And then when I graduated, my coach at the time kind of advised me if I wanted to get into coaching to put some feelers out there, but he warned me it's just a brutal industry. He was like,
Yeah.
what do you want? What do you want out of your life type stuff? And then I was lucky enough that a guy by the name of Justin Stern, who was the head coach at Cazenovia for a while. He's a Syracuse native. He went to JD and coached those JD teams with Trish and Coleman and all that.
Yeah.
He offered me his assistant position, and that's kind of where it all started for me. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it or wanted to stay in it, especially the early struggles of it with pay and just working multiple jobs and stuff like that. But I joke, but it's true. It's the only thing I've been good at, so I gotta keep it going.
Well, you got to be doing something right.
Yeah, right on.
Well,
Nice.
Let's get into your tips and let everybody else who wants to be a young professional maybe get into coaching and give them some insight into what you think is important to know. So tip number 1.
Yeah, so I mean, my first one, pretty specific for me, I think, but I think it's something that can be shared with a lot. It's just if you really want it and you really want to be a coach or even just get into sports in general, I think it's such a competitive field. You got to be all right with relocating. I think a lot of the time you got to be willing to do that. I got a lot of teammates or young guys that I kind of came up through the coaching ranks with that didn't, make it just because they were only applying for jobs within, 20, 30 miles of family or something like that. And the only reason I am where I am is because I dropped everything and moved to Arkansas. It was the first full-time position because I was technically part-time at Caz. And I got a full-time opportunity and I moved. And it's just the only reason I am where I am. But I know a lot of people who are frightened of that. You can always move back home or something like that. But that'd be my first tip is just if this becomes something you really want to do, that's kind of a sacrifice I think you have to make, especially early in your career.
Yeah, and coaching especially, because you got to kind of go where the jobs are and, be willing to know that, if you're an assistant and the head coach ends up leaving or doesn't get retained, now what does that mean for you? And kind of be open to that lifestyle of, being willing to move around for what you want your career to be. And, that might not be for everybody. And it's good to know that going into it.
I mean, yeah, and it's not just for coaching too. Like if you think about any other parts of athletics or sports, like whether you're in sales or you're in marketing or you're in creative, like those folks are always trying to advance their career. So you do move from school to school or team to team, to try to advance yourself. So being able and willing and, open to relocating, I think is really key. Because it's very rare that people stay somewhere for a long period of time.
Yeah, not everyone's Jim Boeheim.
Yeah. No, not everyone's Jim Boeheim, exactly. Or Coach K for that matter, Coaches bounce a lot of different places. I always say that, like, if you see a coach leave or whatnot, like, think about their families having to go through all of that too. Like, but that's what you sign up for. So you kind of understand that in the beginning. So.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think you're right. I think it's not just coaching. I think it's all portions of athletics. I think athletics has got to be one of the most oversaturated industries in the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody wants to work in it. Coaching is my realm, so I know that portion, but I know other places have it. We got people lining up around the door to be volunteers for our SID department. Like there's people who just want to be in it. So if you get a chance, I mean, you got to take it.
Great.
Absolutely. That's
Great
a good
tip.
one. Good one.
Okay. Number 2.
Second one for me, it's cliche to say be peered and everything. It's like you make connections. It's a big thing. Like everybody talks about it. Get on LinkedIn and make connections. I'm not a big LinkedIn guy. My dad gives me crap all the time. I got to be on there and making connections. I'm not a big social media guy for being a young guy, but like the tip is make real connections. I think people get that confused early on in their career where it's just, hey, you gotta go out there and meet people. Like you gotta go interact, like go build your network. But I think people really make a mistake when they become, well, I just gotta go meet whoever I can and go talk to everybody and be friendly and just be that guy that won't be quiet, and just gets to know everybody because it comes off as really fake, I think. And everybody knows that that's the tip everybody gets. So it's like, a young coach walks away from you and you're just like, he's just trying to check a box,
Right.
So my tip really is to, make meaningful connections, talk to people who you really get along with and make meaningful conversations, make friendships with guys. That's what's helped me advance my career and advance the careers of my assistant coaches who have moved on to better positions, is legitimate connections with guys, not just because I walked up and made a joke with them at a recruiting event. Make legitimate connections. It's not a numbers game. It's got to be real connections with people.
That's great. The quote, "It's not a numbers game," is such a great one, because I think a lot of people, like you said, are kind of under this belief is, if I just say hi, I know that person now and it makes a difference. And that's not how you build a resume by any means, or make a connection. But as a coach, do you do that through going to camps? Like, where do you really find the ways to be able to engage with people? Because, in a professional setting, we go to conferences or do certain things at a place where you kind of really learn. Or, I found, like, working through our ACC conference meetings, they used to fly us out to Greensboro and we would all get together and really, like, have a lot of discussions and connect with other people, other ADs or whatever it was. Where do you find as a coach that you can really dig in and develop those relationships?
A big portion of it is our conferences too. Going to the NABC conference at the Final Four every year in Phoenix this year. You meet people there that you would never normally meet. And then, kind of in region, going to recruiting events. I don't know what the equivalent would be in the Northeast, but down here we have the Great American Shootouts, which are the biggest recruiting events for us down here. And you go down there and there'll be 100 or 200 coaches there. And that's kind of where you meet people and talk to people. But that's where you get a lot of people in front of you. A lot of times, a lot of talking's not going on, we're working, so it is hard, I think, sometimes to make those connections. Another portion of it's just going through years and years of, playing different people. You go through scheduling,
Right.
talking to people and making those types of connections. I have an interesting hook when I tell people, like, yeah, man, I'm from New York. That gets people in. Like, how'd you get to Arkansas, man?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing there? And it's just so I have an interesting hook, but it's tough, I think, for some guys who are trying to make those legitimate connections, because it is oversaturated with guys who are just talking. So
it's like the superficial from the real, and I always say that to my crew. Just, the relationships help further you, help you, and it's not about like, hey, how are you? It's about like, how are you doing? Like understanding about who they are, their family, what they're working on. Those, like you said, meaningful connections. People pass through that and they don't realize that those are so important. So I love that, and that goes across everything. Like you said, it's not just in coaching; it's across the board. So
awesome.
Good.
Good one. Good. Okay, Jen, keep me on track. I'm on number 3.
We're on 3. Number 3.
3 for me was, don't worry about the salary of the job early on. Another thing that I think really scares people off is the salary of your position early. Cazenovia is closed now, so I'm sure they don't care about me releasing some information. But my first ever coaching job, I was getting paid like $2,000, like $2,000 stipend. And me and my head coach at the time, Justin Stern, he was just like, hey man, like I get it, but like this is going to be full time. Like it's going to be your full time job, and I'll help you out. We'll find you some stuff. And so I substitute taught. I worked at the front of a medical facility for a little while, just kind of making ends meet. But that can't be something that scares you. There's so many guys that have made it doing that, going 2 or 3 jobs at a time, just until you make it somewhere. And like I said, I got lucky. I got a job here that was full time as an assistant, and I moved down here. But a lot of people, I think, who might actually have a passion for it, get scared off by like, you're doing what, and like and making how much, and living with. I mean, I was living with my parents. I was I was driving a beat up Ford Focus. Like it's that can really scare people off. So that's kind of my third one, is don't be scared off by that. Just work your way through it, and the game will reward you when you put into it.
Yeah, you can't get into this industry looking for the money.
No. I think it's a payday right out of college. Good luck.
It's not there. And that's good to be real. And hopefully people that are listening hear that, because I think sometimes people sugarcoat that too. Like, that's good to be real and for people to understand that right off the bat. So
those are fond memories, though. I mean, I remember my GA ship out of college, and like I wasn't making a lot of money. I was probably working more than I've ever worked in my life. Looking back going like, how did I do that? Of like, I was doing ops for the lacrosse program, doing changeovers at night, working in the academic center, like doing anything that I could pick up to like add to my wallet, so that when I went out for like the 10 minutes a week, I had some money to pay for a drink or something. It's a weird thing. And like, I'm eating with the team is trying to get some of my food, and my parents are helping me out, because there's no way that I was going to be able to do it on my own. It was like, it's one of those things that everyone.
It's how most people start though in the industry, whether it is coaching or facilities or operations.
Say, Jen, when I met you, you were living with your parents.
I lived with my parents for a really long time. And worked side jobs here and there, volunteer, tried to help yourself where it goes, but it's a good thing to be real for people to understand that if you want to be in sports, you're not going to be the Jim Boeheim right off the bat and get millions of dollars, and you're not going to turn into the athletic director right off the bat. So
that's the one that gets me. I feel like and I don't know if it's the same in coaching, but like from an administrative side, I feel like there's so many kids coming out of some of the sports management programs that are like, okay, I'm going to graduate right now, and I'm going to be the AD basically.
And I'm going to make like 6 figures. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're not.
No, I think you're right. There's some truth to just understanding what the grind's going to be. I mean, most of the time, to answer your, like in coaching, that doesn't really happen with people jumping up unless you're, former players, maybe, who just kind of, McNamara that thing and just kind of jump on the staff. Yeah. But, it doesn't happen other than that.
And he put in years and years of, playing ball and doing that. Like even that is, that you have to think about the way that you get to it. But I think people see it from such a different, I think people want to think, oh, it's sports. It's just fun and you can go and all of a sudden.
It's all glamorous. Yeah.
Or in reality, it's brutal. I mean, it's
a lot of hard work, long hours, nights. Like you said, you were recruiting and in the middle of Oklahoma. Like that's part of it. Those are all.
And I think that's why you have to have a passion for it, or it's not. It's probably you need to focus your time somewhere else.
There's a going joke that I hear a lot. There's two types of assistant coaches down. There's the guys who want to be in the trenches, like they want to grind and they want to recruit, they want to do it, and there's guys who want to wear a polo on the bench. Like there's two different types of guys. And the guys who want to wear a polo on the bench are normally they're the volunteers or something like that, and they're not going to make it because you got to really have a passion for it.
Yeah, you can wear a polo on a bench in a public park and do the same thing, basically. Like it's not worth it. That's the truth of it.
No, it is.
If you're not going to, and especially when you're in a team atmosphere and every person matters. Like I remember when I was working with a team, like every person has a contribution, and if you're not going to contribute, it's not, go find another thing that you're passionate about.
Yeah, you can't force it. Because you're not in it for the money. That's so important.
All right. Okay, what are we, number four?
Number 4?
My fourth one, it doesn't really apply to me and my experiences, but it does to some of the assistants that I've had, and one that I'm actually currently going through the hiring process with, and that's for younger kids. If you can't play, get into it. Like be a student assistant, be a student manager, be something when you're in college. I've thought back often to after I got out of baseball and I got to Keuka, and I was just going to hang out. Like I was like, I've never been just a college kid. Like I've always had something to do. Like maybe I'll just hang out, and I'm so happy I didn't. Ended up, walking on and being on the team. But, my assistant who actually just got another job and is leaving, he always told me how much he regretted not doing that. He got into coaching after he got out of college, and he wasn't good enough to play in college. So he just was a college student. Whereas the guy I'm most likely going to hire to replace him, he's, instead of having, 4 years of experience, he's got 8 because he's got those 4 years as a student assistant at a school. And, you can take or leave that, how much you put value on that. But, at least he was around college basketball for 4 years.
Right.
So that's a big tip of mine would be get into it as any way you can. Don't just think you're going to leave college and just jump in. It helps if you already have those connections.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, it was a pinnacle part of my professional career. I would not be doing what I do if I wasn't a manager in college for 4 years and working with a team. And it's still today, there's things that I look back on from that experience that affect my professional career. And I laugh, people like, how long have you been where you're at? And I've been at the same institution and I'm like 20 years. And they look at me and go, you don't look that old. Well, from the moment I stepped on campus, I had an experience working with a program, and that has, I think, really helped me. It's helped me, get in a place where I had more experience and could jump into things that other people that were in my position didn't have the ability to do. And I feel like gave me a head start, towards where I am now.
I mean, we say that to interns and students all the time, like get involved, volunteer, intern anywhere. Like we always say that. And that's so important because even if you're just rolling a t-shirt or you're a student manager on a team that, rebounds the ball and throws it back to the team while they're warming up, like you're around it, you're seeing the environment, you're learning the environment, you're making those connections. Like you said, people see your hard work. If you show up on time, if you stay late, you're willing to go the extra mile. Like, again, in your mind, you might be thinking, oh, I'm doing the crappy job here, I'm not doing the important stuff. But really, that's what sets you apart from everybody else. Like you said, the person you're gonna, hire has 8 years of experience because he was a student manager or student assistant and he was around it. That just sets you apart. So that's so important that I think students forget about. Like just those little things are really, really important.
Matt, for kids or students, I'll say kids, but students or people that are at college, maybe at Ozark, what would you recommend for them to like engage? Like as a coach that, is working at, like, how does someone come and say, hey, I want to be a manager, someone that might not be aware, like what would you recommend to them to do to try and get those experiences or connect with you as a coach or anyone out there in the same situation?
Yeah, so this year we're actually going to have our first student assistant since I've been here. So
Nice.
we got one coming in that'll be a
Awesome.
freshman here that we're excited about. Other than that, I think a big thing is just you got to reach out. Like you got to reach out and connect, and then also you got to kind of be okay with not getting a response, and maybe having to reach out 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Persistence.
Just
yes.
And if you get told no, it is what it is. Go move on to the next thing. But like if you just don't get a response, understand that there's certain times of the year where a coach is just not going to respond. I mean, they got stuff going on. So persistence and just being willing to reach out, because it's huge. It's huge getting that experience and having somebody that can vouch for you.
Yeah, I had a student recently like come to me and be like, well, what do I say? Like I don't have a lot of experience. I'm coming from high school. And, what would you say to someone like that? Like, because you have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing like to say is just, what you're willing to do.
Right.
The biggest thing I look for is, because I get guys all the time who reach out to me about, I could be a student assistant for a year and then, maybe try out for the team next year or something like that. It's like, nah, man, I'm not recruiting guys who want to go try out as a sophomore, but
right.
It'll pique my interest when a guy emails me or something like that and says, I'm looking to get into coaching. I'm willing to do anything. I'll do the laundry. I'll rebound. I'll be there for individual workouts. I just want to get my foot in the door. Whatever you need me to do, I can do it. Those are the ones that will get a response. Because those are the ones that like, oh, okay, he's about this life almost, the grind of it. What's he willing to do? The guy who hired me here as the assistant always joked around with me that he hired me because I had to drive 20 hours to get here. And he was like, man, if you had to drive 20 hours to get here, you're going to work. He's like, you're not coming down here to not work.
Right.
Like, you're going to work for me. And I was like, absolutely. Like, you're right. So tell them what you're willing to do.
Awesome.
That's good.
That's great.
All right, last big one. Okay, so what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point in your career that you wish you knew when you first started?
So much. So much.
Everyone says that.
Yeah, so much.
That's the number one answer.
The biggest one, I think, for me, early in my career, and I think part of that's just that I'm still young, so it's still fresh in my mind, but I wish I knew that it was completely normal for nobody to get it. Like nobody understands like what you're trying to do. Yeah. I had friends and family who were just like, they're paying you how much? Like you're there every day, man. Like what do you mean they're paying you like this? And you want to do what? You're moving to Arkansas for what? Like and it didn't bother me, but it almost gave me some doubt of just like, man, there's these guys. They think this is crazy. Like maybe this isn't normal.
Right.
And, I was lucky enough. I had some guys to lean on who kind of told me like, no, man, this is how you get into it. Like if you want to do it, it's what you got to do. But if I could go back and just tell my younger self something, it'd be like, hey, don't worry about it. Like this stinks, but this is what everybody has to go through. And people outside of the industry just simply won't understand.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I didn't get, the people that were, above me my whole life were telling me like, this isn't how you do things. This isn't how the real world works. And I was like, man, maybe they're right. But anybody outside of the athletics industry just won't get it.
Yeah, you need to explain to them this is not the real world. I've been saying that.
We don't live in the real world.
I've been saying that to myself a lot of times lately at work. I'm just like, yeah, this is not the real world. It's a very different world.
Oh yeah.
We have to tell that to our families a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's the big one to understand. Like what it really is that you're doing is. Sometimes my parents are like, "Did you get to watch the game when you were there?" And I was like, "Not really. I didn't see any of it. I was working." So that's always a good one. But that's good. Because that can be hard, too, when people don't understand. Like you said, it gives you a little bit of doubt. And you have to keep explaining yourself. Like, that can be tough. But it's good to know that you get through it. You get through it. So.
Well, Matt, this has been awesome. We so appreciate your insight, and there's a reason why clearly you got elevated to a great position early in your profession, and we wish you all the best and keep doing well. And I'm definitely going to be checking out. I know your dad, so I'm going to check on your scores during the basketball season, see what you guys are doing. And
if he's watching a game, we'll go over and watch it with him.
We'll watch with him a little bit now.
No, we got live stats.
Nice.
Awesome.
Perfect.
We'll check in. But thank you again for your time, and thanks everybody for listening. We hope that you keep up with us, and Jen, do our shout outs here.
Yes. So yeah, again, thank you everybody for listening. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and following us all on all your favorite podcast platforms. And then obviously to keep up with us, follow us on our socials. So on Instagram and X at @AthCareerPod. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn, Athletic Career Consulting. So yeah, keep up with us on all of our socials, and
right, questions. We were asking for questions, right? Don't forget the questions.
Questions. If anybody has any questions, we're happy to answer. And just looking forward to connecting with everybody. And Matt, this was awesome. So thank you so much. So
thank you.
This was great.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.